Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. It's been a little while, and I do apologize. I know a lot of you were waiting to see what I was going to say about the Miss Marvel series, and I do plan on getting to that. It's just a lot of stuff has been going on. I've had different position at work, trying to settle into some things, and I do apologize that I haven't been keeping up to date with that. But I guess really I'm only technically behind with just not posting my Miss Marvel series review, so I'll get to that shortly. But I actually just finished watching the brand new Predator movie streaming exclusively on Hulu called Prey, and I feel like I have to talk. Everybody's talking about it, and it is a film, so even though I didn't see it in theaters, I had to watch it via streaming. It is a movie, so I'm going to treat it like I normally would seeing a movie. So this is going to be my initial first reaction to seeing the brand new movie Prey. Now, I gotta say, when they announced that they were going to do a Predator prequel movie, just as a quick little recap of my history with the Predator series, I love the Alien and Predator movies, most of them. Like, I'm a fan of the world. I think they're interesting creatures, cool looking creatures. When I was younger, they scared the crap out of me, but now seeing the movies as a teenager and an adult, I really appreciate them. They're just fun movies to watch. So in terms of Predator, the original Predator with Schwarzenegger, perfection. Predator 2 with Danny Glover, I think it's an underrated classic. I really do appreciate Predator 2. Predators, guilty pleasure movie, has its faults, but I have no problem just sitting down watching it. The Predator, that's absolute garbage. I will never watch that again. That was just absolutely horrible. So, but still, if there was a new movie on the way with the Predator or Alien, I gotta watch it just because it's a guilty pleasure series for me. So now we have Prey, which is technically a prequel movie to the original Predator. And I gotta say right off the bat, guys, this is a million times better than that last piece of shit movie, The Predator. Prey is a great looking movie, perfectly shot. It is pretty short. It only clocks in at like an hour and a half, hour and 40 with credits. But for the most part, it's very well paced. You know, you get the gist of it. You understand who our main character is, what she's trying to do, and there's a predator that must be stopped. There you go. And then there's a kind of other things in there too, and I won't be spoiling anything. First reaction, no spoilers. So yeah, you get the general gist of what is going on. And this movie is really an underdog story. This is about this Native American girl trying to prove herself and letting the rest of her tribe know that she can hunt. And what's great about this movie is that, you know, she adapts and learns. You know, she starts off not being the very best hunter, but as we progress through the movie, oh my God, she is just an absolute badass. I loved her character. I love the dog. The dog was actually really great. Very cute too. I love the dog. And the other side characters, you know, were good. There's one other character that I don't want to say just in terms of spoilers, but, you know, there's a good, like, dynamic between the two, and I think by the end of the movie, you know, it's pretty good. It's okay, but she really steals the entire movie. But we also have the big guy, the Predator. And I bet you're wondering, how is the Predator in this movie? I have some nitpicks with it, but as a general summary of it, every scene that the Predator is in is perfect. Every shot, every kill, every time the Predator is on screen, it's handled with a lot of respect and a lot of care. Much like with the Obi-Wan Kenobi show, how they treated Darth Vader. Every scene that Darth Vader was in, he was treated well. And it's the same thing with the Predator. There is not a bad Predator shot in this movie. So if you're just here to see the Predator go ape shit and kill people, you get what you want. And some of the kills are very unique, kind of gruesome sometimes. And this is a little bit of a nitpick. You know, the movie is rated R, and, you know, for bloody violence, as you can expect from a Predator movie. Sometimes they show you a kill and then they kind of like turn the camera or pan the camera away to kind of like hide the fact, where like they're trying to go for like a PG-13. But for the most part, you know, there's a lot more, like you see a lot of these kills, and it is rated R for a reason. But I feel like there are some points in time where, you know, the Predator or somebody will go in for like a strike or a kill, and then the camera just has to pan to another side to, you know, create more suspense. But it didn't really bother me that much, because when they actually show it and they show the Predator going nuts, it all works. It all works really well. Another little nitpick for me, and I have to agree with Jeremy Johns because I watched his review for this before I watched the movie. The Predator's face, you know, it's got the features of like what the Predator looks like, but it's not the same design as the the Predators that we've seen in the Schwarzenegger one and the Danny Glover one, Predator 1 and Predator 2, or even the first Alien versus Predator. But that's a whole can of soup for another time. So it looks a little bit more different, which bothered me a tiny little bit, but for the most part, it's still the Predator. You know, he's got the same features, and I still liked it. He's big, and you don't want to mess with the Predator. One thing I do want to say really quickly, this isn't really so much of a spoiler. This has to do with like the Predator's arsenal. So if you don't want to hear about his arsenal, maybe kind of skip ahead to the end of the video. But in terms of story, I don't think it's that much, but you've been warned. What I liked about what this Predator did was that he had different weapons than the Predator had in the Schwarzenegger movie, where, you know, he didn't have he had the laser, but he didn't have the actual gun. The gun actually shot darts instead of like a photon charge blast. So I was like, okay, that's very unique. We're not getting futuristic yet. He had his spear, he had some type of a sword, he had his net, he had some classic Predator weapons, but he also had a couple of new things that I think, you know, made it different and not copying what Schwarzenegger's Predator did. And that's another thing that I really do like, is that you think that this movie is going to pay a lot of homage to like the original Predator in terms of like music and quotes. There's like one or two quotes that they use that are from the original Predator, but they don't stick out as cheesy, and, you know, they fit. It's not awkward at all, and I actually did appreciate it because it makes sense for what is going on in the story. But in terms of seeing this different kind of Predator using, you know, different weapons that aren't from the future movie, it made things more interesting because it's not the high-tech Predator that we're used to from the future. And another thing that I have to give this movie props to is that you kind of think you know how the movie is going to play out from certain things that the Predator has, but in actuality, it doesn't. I was actually surprised in one moment of the film. It was more towards like the middle of the movie where the Predator was using one of his gadgets, and I'm like, oh, I thought he was going to save that gadget for the end, but no, he actually used it right now. But again, it was different from what we've seen in the future. So again, I have to give it props, and it still worked. And then the ending of the movie, I enjoyed it. You know, I think I kind of figured how it was going to end, but, you know, I was very surprised with the little tiny tidbits that they throw in there for like the future of the franchise and whatnot. But all in all, if this is just its own standalone Predator prequel movie, it does its job. I wouldn't say it leaves things open for a sequel, but then again, though, if you've seen the original Predator and Predator 2, you know where it's going to go. But it doesn't need to like show you. It just tells you this one story, and that's all you get. And honestly, it works. And for the most part, I really did enjoy my time with this film. This is a pretty enjoyable watch. I wouldn't say it's anything like Oscar worthy or like absolutely fantastic, but it is a really good watch, which is why I'm going to give Prey a B-. This was an enjoyable movie. If you are a Predator fan, you're going to like this movie because it's going to be a million times better than the last one, and I can guarantee you there. And then, you know, if you're just looking for something new to watch and you really don't care, just watch it. And that's another thing too. It's a short movie. Could it have been longer? Maybe, but you know what? Honestly, I think it was perfectly done. You know, an hour and 30. Moved pretty good. There were no boring parts in the movie. Moved at a pretty good pace, so I'm satisfied. Would I like a sequel? Depends on what they would do, but I will say that if they did do a sequel, kind of like what I've said with some other films, I would want them to bring the team that did this film. If they bring the same team back to do a second one, then I would be on board because, you know, again, some movies can be good and bad, but I was really surprised with this one, and that's why I gave it a B-. So that is my first reaction of Prey. Really good time, enjoyed it. Definitely what I was looking for. And I recommend it if you're a Predator fan, or if you're just looking for something new to watch and you have Hulu, go check it out. So with that being said, eventually, guys, I promise the next video I'm going to do will be my Season 1 review of Ms. Marvel. I'm sorry, just a lot of things have been going on. I've got a new job. I've been getting settled with some things. So that's why there's been a little bit of silence, but I'm going to try and catch back up to that because we got a lot more stuff coming up in the future. So I hope you enjoyed this video, though. I hope you were excited to maybe see my reaction to this movie, even though I never really kind of talked about it, but you know what I mean. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you next time for my review of the first season of Ms. Marvel. Thank you guys. Have a good one.